think I can see it. Streaming the truth live from where they decree it. Sylvia speaks, no filter, no buffer. Courtroom drama couldn't get any tougher.
When the gavel's first bang, to the witness stands tears. Sylvia's lens captures all your hopes and fears. Uploading justice one trial at a time. Tune in every moment, edges sublime.
Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Faces tell stories, the courtroom can't hide. Sylvia's insights cut through the divide. From jury talks to the lawyer's secret. In Sylvia's world, you know you'll need it. Behind the scenes where whispers are loud, her lens reveals the truth in the crowd. Courtroom secrets laid bare to see. Stay curious, make Sylvia spree. Every objection, every sharp retort, Sylvia's there to give you the report. Exclusive footage no one else can snag. From catchy headlines straight to the tag. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show.
Faces tell.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Infamous Channel. I am Sylvia, and we have a new case. Well, it's not a new case. It's a case that I started following. First, I want to give a shout out to the person who brought this case to my attention. SS Success is the first person that brought this case to my attention, and she was sending me so many things about this case. And then my girl, CMT, started sending me some stuff in regards to this case. As you guys know, this case is about a double homicide, a double murder of a teenager at the age of 16 who unalived her biological mother and her stepdad. And the strangest thing about this case is why it kind of like hold close to me is it was done on my birthday. It was done. Oh, wow. Wait a minute. Hold on. Callie just popped in and said this was down the street from me. Oh, my God. Callie, you got to give us some 411 because you have the boots on the ground situation here. Okay. Thank you for being here, Callie. I hope you're here to give us some. Oh, wow. Callie said, my son went to school with her. She was weird, they said. Whoa, for real? Oh, my God. Thank you for being here. This is exciting. Okay, let me show my face here. Hold on. You just got me excited, Callie. You just got me excited. Y'all, let me tell you something. I was under the weather this morning. I got up, did my prayer, did my reading the scripture, and I had a tremendous headache. So I went and laid down. So, CMT is relentless. She don't give up, y'all. She was sending me stuff left and right, and she was like on my butt. So I said, let me get up. So I got myself something to eat, took my meds, and I said, let me shower, let me look a little bit fresh. And I said, let me get on here. I didn't even comb my hair, y'all. I just put the hat on and I said, let me get this hat on. Shout out to my hat, which is CC gave me this wonderful hat. I had to match with CC's earrings, so I had to look a little bit fashionable. Put some little lip rouge on there. I said, let me look good. Let me look as not how I feel, but how I want to be feeling. So just bear with me today because I'm not my 1000%, okay? But now that Callie is in here and I see CCSSS success and I see CMT, so I'm cool, y'all. I'm gonna do this today. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna just fake it till I make it, okay? Now Callie said I got a lot. Woo, Callie, we're here to hear it. We're here for it. We're here to hear it. You know what I'm saying? As what's the name used to say? She said, we're here for it, okay? We're here for it. She said she always was saying she hated her parents. It gets deep. Ooh, what? What? I will have to let you know off of here. Okay. I don't get banned for this stuff she was saying at school. What? Oh my God. Okay. Somebody please send Callie my info so we can get this behind the scene info here. But one thing I heard, y'all, I heard that the TikTokers that she reached out to have been subpoenaed. Did y'all hear about that? The 3 TikTokers she reached out to have been subpoenaed. And so most likely there's a gag on those TikTokers. See, I don't know anything, so I'm new to this game, so they can't put a gag on me because I don't know nothing. I'm learning everything like everybody else. So thank God I didn't know anything. Thank God she never reached out to me to tell me stuff. But I heard she was reaching out to TikTokers left and right during the whole trial. Well, we're gonna go into some of the stuff, the interviews with the grandfathers, the interview with the father, I did see the funeral video that she did when she did the eulogy, when she was doing her little speech during the eulogy, the funeral of the parents. So, man, yes, why I don't want to say anything on it. Okay, y'all, please give her my 411. Yeah, please send her my info, okay, y'all? Because I'm really, you know me, I like to dig and find more info. But let me tell you something. I put in a FOIA for her phone calls, right? I got rejected right away for her phone call. And they said because of privacy. So then what I did is send it back to them to say, hey, it has nothing. I mean, there's privacy is nothing. I mean, this is information that's available for the public. And she never responded when after I sent the case that the judge said that this is not considered privacy because on a phone call with the jail, it's not a private conversation. So she never responded. So I guess she don't want to she don't want to deal with that. So then I asked her, how do I appeal this? She never responded to my request either. So they trying to keep this hush hush from us. So I guess they trying to make sure that this trial is as fair as possible. But those phone calls should have no bearings of what the information had, because they said they have a plethora amount of evidence. That's what they said. So the phone call shouldn't be the only evidence that they have if that's part of their evidence. They can just redact that part and just give me everything else, because at the hearing, they mentioned something about, one of the person that was a part of the bond hearing saying that she was on the phone with them all the time, and I want to hear what the conversation was like. I mean, I wanted to hear, but they shut me down. All right, so thank you, Callie, for being here. I really appreciate you being here because I definitely want the 411 in this case. I plan on being at the bond hearing. There's a bond reconsideration hearing on the 27th of this month. So I will be there if the Lord is willing. If I'm feeling fine, I will be there. So I probably would have to get there the night before because if not, I would have to get up like 3 o'clock in the morning to try to beat the traffic down there because it's like almost 2 hours for me to get there. So I probably have to find a hotel room and stuff like that for me to be there. And then I did ask, I asked the camera guy, was he going to be the camera guy for that? They said that Law and Crime might be using a local person. So we'll see what happens. So, but I plan on being down there for that. Her biological dad has money and then trying to pay people off. What? Ooh, what? Say no more, Callie. I wish I could be there. I have surgery that day. Oh, you do? Oh, well, Callie, if the Lord is willing, I will be there with my bells on. I am going to put in a Rule 22 to see if I can videotape or even at least use camera, take a picture and stuff like that. I want to do that. So the father's very well known in Carrollton. Really? Really? Interesting. Okay. All right. So maybe I can need to talk to Dad, huh? Do I need to talk to Dad and the rest of them? I just want to I want all sides of this. Can I send you my? Absolutely. Yeah. Somebody please put my email. Where my mods at? Serena. Where those mods? Naughty, could you put my number? I mean, my number, my email, whatever. Yeah, put my phone number in there. Don't put your number in here, Callie. I don't want the people to know your number. You can send it to me. Hey, Attorney Mom, y'all. Did y'all see Attorney Mom? That woman was looking snazzy on her little live. She was snazzing it up, y'all. I don't know. Her hubby might have to tone it down a little because hubby gonna get her behind. Yeah, send it to my email and then it's sparks1565@gmail.com. That's my email. Okay. You guys are ready now? Oh, you just sent it? Okay, thank you. I'll catch you right after my live, okay? Are you sad? Why are you sad? Okay, after this, we'll talk, Attorney Mom. I just want to get this out for these people. All right, everybody. I think we got all of their little housekeeping thing out the way. Remember, guys, I got to put my little banner up here. Hold on, let me put down what I have to say. Disclaimer, I, Infamous Sylvia, am part of the new media, a trial vlogger who reports facts with an entertainment undertone. Get that? An entertainment undertone. So if you are triggered or if you get upset, if I laugh about something, if I make light of something, maybe this is not for you. This channel may not be for you. I believe that sometimes humor helps us to get through some of the hard things in life, you know? So if you get offended by me making a joke about something or not take something as serious as you may take it, please do not get offended. Do not think that I am the worst type of person or villain because I make light of it. Because life is too short for us to be so serious about stuff and to get upset about things that really has no bearing on whether it's not going to change anything. Okay. Her parents are gone. I pray that their soul rests in peace. And her life has just been placed in a disarray. We don't know the facts of the case. I only know what people tell me. I was not there. So I have no dog in this race. I am extremely neutral, but I have to go by what the law says. The law says that she is innocent until she is proven otherwise. Until she goes to trial and the trial deems her whatever it is, whether innocent or guilty, that is when we have to go by what the decision is. But currently, right now, she is innocent, and that's the way we're going to treat it. She's innocent until proven guilty, okay? No matter how much we may feel, based on what we think we know, that she is, deemed whatever by the public opinion, I'm not going to go there with you guys, okay? I'm going to go with what the law says. The law says she's innocent until proven guilty. I might say some slide remarks and stuff like that, but please, I am not the juror. I am not in anybody's courtroom as far as being part of the decision making of her guilt or innocent. I am going to stick with what the law says, okay? Do everyone understand what I just said? Please give me a 1 if you understand me. Give me a 2 if you're like, okay, what the hell is Sylvia saying? Give me a 1 if you understand what I'm saying, where I stand. My stance is she's innocent until proven guilty. Okay? I don't care how much somebody knows about what's going on in this case. To me, I'm an outsider. I know nothing. She's innocent until proven guilty. All right? Okay? And I don't care how mean and evil and, and I know Callie know more than any of us knows, okay? And Callie's going to have her stance. She's going to have her belief and whatever she believes. Please do not come at her either. She knows more than what we know, okay? And I appreciate Callie for being willing to speak with me about some things, okay? And anybody who sees other things about this case, if you want to reach out to me, please do so, because I am willing to listen to all sides of this, okay? I shout out to CMT and SS Sussex for giving me the information on this case. This what the stuff you're about to see is stuff that they have shared with me, and I'm going to share it with you guys, okay? If you feel the desire to support this channel, because guys, I travel, I go and dig for information. If you feel in your heart that you want to support this channel, there are multiple ways of doing so. I have Cash App, I have Venmo, I have Zelle, I have PayPal, whichever way you feel that. And definitely, I need the prayer. Prayer number 1 now. I want everybody. All of y'all could do that for me. But I don't want those that pray to the devil to pray for me. I don't want that. I don't want y'all prayer, okay? But I want those who know Jesus Christ, who loves the Lord. Those people is the prayer I want, okay? I don't want the devil prayers, okay? If you pray to Satan, if your cross is upside down, don't pray for me, please. Don't pray, because I don't want those kind of prayers. But those who believe in the power of prayer, who knows God is the ultimate judge, jury, and everything, I want you guys to pray. I want you guys to pray that he gives me the strength to continue and do the things that he has called me to do as far as being a trial blogger, okay? And I thank you guys right now. I want you guys to pray that God help me with my health this morning, because I'm feeling it. So, but I'm here. I'm here. To God be the glory, okay? Are you guys ready? First, I want to give you guys a little bit of the background on this case. I have my notes. Shout out to CMT. And I have a timeline that CMT did send over to me. And I'm going to show the timeline, okay? Can you guys see this right now? If this is too much, if it's too busy, I can move myself out the way and just concentrate on this. You want to do it that way? Because it's too busy for some folks that may have some sort of can y'all see that? Y'all see that, right? This is a timeline that of this particular case. This is a time of the events with the state of Georgia versus Sarah Grace Patrick. That is her full name. She was 16 at the time, okay? On February 20th, which is shout out my birthday last year, February 20th I think around in the middle of the night, early in the morning, the parents were unalived, right? And I'll get the details in a few minutes, okay? This happened on February 20th, 2025. The alleged homicide occurred, right? Kristin and James Brock was fatally shot. And their daughter, their 5-year-old daughter, is the one that went into their room and saw the parents deceased. You don't know who CMT is? Now, attorney mom, I know you were wrong for that. You are wrong for not. Oh, CMT. She says she don't know who you are. Lord have mercy. Well, anyway, Sarah Grace Patrick called 911 and reported that her parents had been pew pew, right? On July 8th, 2025, there was a warrant. The warrant went out before July 8th, but July 8th, Sarah Grace Patrick surrendered herself and she was booked into custody. She was booked into Carroll County Jail, where she has been sitting in that jail since her arrest. It took them almost it was 6 months after the actual unaliving of her parents for them to even charge her. During the time, there was a couple of different incidents that was going on social media. And through the investigation, they saw some things that kind of triggered their interest in Sarah herself. And some of these incidents that occur, we're going to go through the TikTok videos furnished by CMT that showed some strange stuff, strange interaction, and we're going to go look at some of these things. And then you guys tell me, what do you think about this? All right, you guys tell me. All right, the first video, I'm going to play it right now. All right, yeah.
So one final update for Sarah Grace Patrick. Today, the defense team filed a motion for
Wait a minute, this is not the beginning. Hold on a second. I thought CMT had this in order. Hold on, y'all. CMT did not put this in order. Oh my Lord. I tell you, hard. It's hard to find good. Let me stop. I'm just joking, CMT. I thought we were going to have this in order, but no, she didn't give it to me in order. Hold on. I got to figure out which video is which video. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I got to figure out here which video is which video. Okay, here we go. Thank you so much for, hold on. I got to go back a little bit. Hold on. That's that video. Let's go this one here. I got to see the dates on these videos. Okay, we can't use that video. Hold on. CMT. Can we just get these things in the right order? Ma'am. Okay, that's 2025. Hold on. I gotta get to. I think I got this one. Okay. I think I got it. I think I got it now. Hold on. Oh, CMT. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful, CMT. I'm grateful. Hold on. Y'all just talk to each other. Get to know your neighbors while we wait on this. Get to know your neighbors while we wait on me getting the information out for you. Hold on. All right, so let okay, here we go. The first video that we're gonna play is from July 11th, right? And now this is the video where a TikToker is discussing this case. I haven't seen these videos, so we're going to see this the first time together, okay? The only video I did see is the video where her doing the eulogy, But here we go. Ready? All right, this is a TikToker that she had reached out to. She reached out to quite a few TikTokers at the time of this the unaliving, after the unaliving, okay? She was trying to bring awareness, attention to her parents' situation, okay? Y'all ready? Give me a one if you guys are ready. Oh, y'all want me to take the timeline down? Okay, let me take the timeline down. Hold on a second. Let me take the timeline down. Hold on. I'm going to take the timeline down. Okay, you're right. Let me take the timeline down. Okay, let's go ahead and share this video here. All right, is that better? Is that better, ma'am? Is that better? Should we make this bigger? Can we make this bigger? Is there a way to make this bigger? No, no, no. Okay. Y'all ignore all the other stuff on the side. Just look at this video. All right, we're ready. Let's go.
To cover the Sarah Grace case. Y'all's request is granted. Okay, so buckle up. We're going to put all in this one video of everything I have seen so far. And before we get started, I live in Buchanan. So this is like next door to me. And I will just say this. Before this came to light, people already speculated that she was involved and that she was the person. So just to give you a little bit of small town talk here, when she was speaking at the funeral and when she was posting and doing all her things, everybody was looking at her like, And obviously, when I say everyone, I mean like people in the town. So her TikTok has been removed. Unfortunately, I did not snag up the content before now because I was not planning on covering this case. But since y'all are showing interest and wanting me to, here is a profile that has snagged up all the stuff on her profile and put it on this new profile. So if you want to see like what was on her stuff, I'll tag this below and you can go see. So the speech that she did at the funerals actually wasn't posted on her TikTok because I like creeped hard whenever this like came about. I was like, I'm going to her TikTok. I'm going to go look at everything. So she didn't originally post this. This is just something that was recorded and posted online. Her dad shared it. And so if you want to see the full video, it is on the page I'm tagging in my caption. But basically, she stood up here sobbing, giving this great big speech. Okay. Great big speech. And I mean, come on. You know, people probably believed it. You know, they probably believed like this is a daughter that is mourning her mother, mourning her stepdad, all the things, you know. She had a lot of people fooled. Her friends were fooled. A lot of people were fooled. And by the way, I kind of just jumped into this. This happened February of this year. So whenever they're investigating and they're doing all these things, she's posting, she's getting online, she's messaging literal creators on this app, and she's asking them to cover the story, giving them the sob story, everything. She even reached out to Mama Tot. And I did not expect this. Like when I saw this post, I knew exactly who she was talking about, but my mouth hit the floor because I was like, there's no way. There's no way. I'm going to move out of the way so y'all can pause and read this. So I'm going to play this clip here because this gives insight of messages that she sent to these people on top of Mama Tot, because she sent Mama Tot like a message and she was like, I need a mama, like all this stuff. Well, she sent a bunch of messages to true crime, specifically true crime creators, trying to get them to cover this story. And so I'm going to play this video. This is from Allegedly, Reportedly. Go support her content. I'm going to tag her also below.
So not only did this teenager ask me to cover a case that she would wind up being arrested in, but her comments on that video that I made that she requested are so disturbing to look at now. Sarah Grace has now been arrested and charged with taking her mother and stepfather's life. She requested that I make a video about it, and then she commented, thank you for spreading awareness. She also replied to this person who asked what was used in this crime, and she answered. This person commented and said, from an investigative standpoint, it would seem that it was someone who knew them, hoping for answers and swift justice. Sarah Grace, the daughter and stepdaughter of these victims who has now been arrested, said most definitely was, since they knew the house. If you don't know what case I'm talking about, this is James and Kristin Brock. They were found no longer alive in their Carroll County, Georgia home in February of this year. I learned about this case when I got a message on June 4th from the daughter of Kristin and stepdaughter of James, Sarah Grace Patrick. She was asking for me to cover the case, and I did so. I get requests like that all the time. So that is a screenshot of me covering it and where she said thank you. And as of today, July 8th, 2025, she was arrested and charged with 4 counts in connection with taking the life of her mother and stepfather. She learned that there was an arrest warrant according to reports and turned herself in. It was her father, according to the press conference today, that dropped her off to turn herself in. That is all we know so far. So many people want to know about motive and why, but this arrest just happened today. So like in every other case, it is now a wait and see. Wait for this to make its way through the justice system. I've seen a lot of comments saying, well, if a teenager did this to their parents, they must have had a bad home life. I want to set it clear right now, everything I have heard about James and Kristin are that they were great people and beloved members of their community. And even if you go to Sarah Grace's TikTok, she seemed to love them very much. She seemed to miss them very much. So I don't want to allow a narrative to start being played out in the comments that is basically victim blaming. We will see what plays out in court. But as of now, all of the things that I have read is that these were amazing people. And yes, they had beaten a dark past, but that should have nothing to do with this conversation because by all accounts, they had beaten that past. And anyone who has beaten a dark past, as far as my experience and the people I've known that have done so, are some of the strongest people I have ever known. And furthermore, James was on a waiting list for a heart transplant. So he was having to get tested all the time for substances. So if people are trying to say, oh, well, they did substances in the past, this must be connected. That man had had multiple heart surgeries and he was waiting on a heart transplant. When you are waiting for that, when you are using the medical devices that he was using, you are routinely tested. So again, I cannot tell you, concrete, there was a perfect family life, so there was no reason whatsoever for this. All I can tell you is that Sarah Grace Patrick has been arrested and charged with 4 counts in connection with taking the life of her mother and her stepfather. And if you watch the press conference by the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, they seemed pretty confident and they said they have a mountain of evidence. So we will see what plays out, but I just wanted to clear that up pretty quickly. I don't want to allow that narrative on my page. If it turns out that you guys were right, I will certainly come on here and make a video. But for now, I request that we all wait to see what comes out and rest in peace to Kristin and James Brock. This is absolutely devastating, disturbing. But of course, Sarah Grace Patrick, just like anyone else who has just been arrested, is innocent until proven guilty or until she pleads guilty. So right now, these are accusations, these are charges, these are not convictions. I will keep you posted on this case. Let me know your thoughts. And one last time, rest in peace to Kristin and James Brock.
So this is her mother's Facebook page, who is the victim, and it's still up. So if you want to go look at it, feel free. This is her Facebook page. And the stepfather's page is also up if you want to go look at it before it gets taken down or whatever might happen to it. Here you go. So this is her real father, who is Donald Patrick. And I find this whole post really telling because people speculate that he possibly knew that she did what she did. But this post kind of tells me like he probably didn't. And y'all can read it for yourself. So I'm going to get out of the way so y'all can pause to read this. But this is the post that everybody was like, oof. We think she might have told him. Like he knows more than what he's leading on. Like he's playing stupid.
Okay, it says, Dear Dad, I love you so much, and I don't know what I would do if God didn't send me you. I love you, and I know a lot has happened, but just JS, no, I love you, and we got this. Sarah Patrick. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for being an amazing dad.
And when this happened, people are saying that she was angry because her mother and her stepfather said that her boyfriend at the time could not come over. Like they banned him from the house. They're like, no. And she got very upset, and they speculate that's why she did what she did.
Oh, I want to tell you, the boyfriend was arrested as well. So I know they're not saying much about the boyfriend, but he was arrested as well. I'm going to go look up his situation as well.
She was at the house, and the 5-year-old sister was at the house. The 5-year-old is the one that discovered the bodies. I'm not going to post a 5-year-old child on here, you guys. If y'all want to go do your own research and see what she looks like or who she is, you do that on your own time. But this 5-year-old woke up, discovered the bodies, and that's how it all transpired, how it all came about. Now, we don't know more of the details other than that because we're just speculating. Was Sarah in her bed pretending to be asleep? Was, like, obviously Sarah wasn't the one that discovered it. So did the 5-year-old discover it and go get Sarah? We don't know those details just yet. So this post was March, the year before, like a few months before, whatever. This kind of just shows, like, the mother obviously, like, really loved her. Like, they all just really loved her. So let's back it up to 2022. On Kristin, the mom's Facebook, is just proof that her and James did not have the best relationship. And from what we know around town, they were on some things, okay? They left some paper trails that they did not have the best relationship, but they did turn things around for the better. They did work on the relationship. They became active members in the church. They became sober. They became better people. Now, people have speculated maybe there was something going on in the house. Maybe the stepdad was doing something, but that's not true because out of Sarah's own mouth, she has stated nothing like that occurred. So I don't know why it's cutting the person that sent this off, but her name is Kelly, and she shared her private messages with Sarah because before this all came about, everybody's just trying to figure everything out. And these were the messages clearing.
Let me see what it says. Jamie has never touched you in any way inappropriately. Please tell me the truth. You can be honest with me. I just need to make sure. Sarah, please. And then she says, he would never, ever, ever do that. He was never weird like that. He wouldn't even come in my room because he knew I slept naked. What? How do you know you slept naked?
Up the rumors that maybe the stepdad was doing something funky with her, okay? So if y'all missed Sarah's actual page, she tried to start like a GoFundMe and was like posting her Cash App and stuff like that, trying to get money from this whole situation. Well, this woman named Kimberly, she had created a GoFundMe in which was paying for like the cremation and all this stuff, and she didn't get a lot of money. Like, she got $1,900. And if y'all ever have done anything with funerals and things like that, it's expensive, okay? $1,900 ain't a lot when it comes to that stuff. But this was their conversation about that. Y'all need to pause to read.
Okay, let's pause. I had to go fund me to help take care of expenses for my brother's cremation and other expenses for his service. It was never made for any of the children, just enough to cover the cost once. And Sarah says, also, his service was free at Catalyst Church. And they were cremated, and there's a whole house and GoFund mess and a yard sale. So there shouldn't been money left over, but my dad is left struggling to support my brother, and I have to support myself as a freshly 17-year-old. I don't want the money. I just want the help. And then Kimberly says, I received $1,900 in funds. I paid for cremation, ordered pictures, ordered frames, urn for service, and urn for Tyson, and urn necklace for Jason. Trust me when I say my GoFundMe was gone and it never said for the kids, and said that it said for Jamie's cremation. Oh, so she was asking for money from her from Kimberly, his sister?
So also another speculation, Jackson Spradling.
Okay, that's the boyfriend, y'all. That's the boyfriend that was arrested, guys. Jackson Spallman. I need to write down his name so I can look it up, y'all. Hold on. Y'all got his spelling his name? Those who my investigators. Y'all got it? Okay. That's his boyfriend.
I noticed some
Oh
pictures
no, sorry.
The amount of comments I have gotten asking me
Sorry,
to
y'all. I don't know what did I just do, y'all? I just screwed it up. Hold on, I got a password.
cover the Sarah Grace case. Y'all's request is granted.
Oh,
Okay, so buckle
guys,
up. We're
sorry
gonna
again.
put all in this
Sorry.
one video of everything
I'm trying to
I have seen
record.
so far. And before we get started,
Sorry,
I live in
guys.
Buchanan. So this is like next door to me. And I will just say this.
It started again.
Before this came to light, people already speculated
My
that
apologies, y'all. I hit the wrong thing. It started again. My apologies.
she was involved and that she was the person. So just to give you a little bit of small town talk here, when she was speaking at the funeral and when she was posting and doing all her things, everybody was looking at her like, and obviously when I say everyone, I mean like people in the town. So her TikTok has been removed. Unfortunately, I did not snag up the content before now because I was not planning on covering this case, but since y'all are showing interest and wanting me to, here is a profile that has snagged up all the stuff on her profile and put it on this new profile. So if you want to see like what was on her stuff, I'll tag this below and you can go see. So the speech that she did at the funerals actually wasn't posted on her TikTok because I like creeped hard whenever this like came about. I was like, I'm going to her TikTok. I'm gonna go look at everything. So she didn't originally post this. This is just something that was recorded and posted online. Her dad shared it. And so if you want to see the full video, it is on the page I'm tagging in my caption. But basically, she stood up here sobbing, giving this great big speech. Okay. Great big speech. And I mean, come on. You know, people probably believed it. You know, they probably believed like this is a daughter that is mourning her mother, mourning her stepdad, all the things, you know. She had a lot of people fooled. Her friends were fooled. A lot of people were fooled. And by the way, I kind of just jumped into this. This happened February of this year. So whenever they're investigating and they're doing all these things, she's posting, she's getting online, she's messaging literal creators on this app, and she's asking them to cover the story, giving them the sob story, everything. She even reached out to Mama Tot. And I did not expect this. Like when I saw this post, I knew exactly who she was talking about, but my mouth hit the floor because I was like, there's no way. There's no way. I'm going to move out of the way so y'all can pause and read this. So I'm going to play this clip here because this gives insight of messages that she sent to these people on top of Mama Tot, because she sent Mama Tot like a message and she was like, I need a mama, like all this stuff. Well, she sent a bunch of messages to true crime, specifically true crime creators, trying to get them to cover this story. And so I'm going to play this video. This is from allegedly, reportedly. Go support her content. I'm going to tag her also below.
So not only did this teenager ask me to cover a case that she would wind up being arrested in, but her comments on that video that I made that she requested are so disturbing to look at now. Sarah Grace has now been arrested and charged with taking her mother and stepfather's life. She requested that I make a video about it, and then she commented, "Thank you for spreading awareness." She also replied to this person who asked what was used in this crime, and she answered. This person commented and said, from an investigative standpoint, it would seem that it was someone who knew them, hoping for answers and swift justice. Sarah Grace, the daughter and stepdaughter of these victims who has now been arrested, said most definitely was, since they knew the house. If you don't know what case I'm talking about, this is James and Kristin Brock. They were found no longer alive in their Carroll County, Georgia home in February of this year. I learned about this case when I got a message on June 4th from the daughter of Kristin and stepdaughter of James, Sarah Grace Patrick. She was asking for me to cover the case, and I did so. I get requests like that all the time. So that is a screenshot of me covering it and where she said thank you. And as of today, July 8th, 2025, she was arrested and charged with 4 counts in connection with taking the life of her mother and stepfather. She learned that there was an arrest warrant according to reports and turned herself in. It was her father, according to the press conference today, that dropped her off to turn herself in. That is all we know so far. So many people want to know about motive and why, but this arrest just happened today. So like in every other case, it is now a wait and see. Wait for this to make its way through the justice system. I've seen a lot of comments saying, well, if a teenager did this to their parents, they must have had a bad home life. I want to set it clear right now, everything I have heard about James and Kristin are that they were great people and beloved members of their community. And even if you go to Sarah Grace's TikTok, she seemed to love them very much. She seemed to miss them very much. So I don't want to allow a narrative to start being played out in the comments that is basically victim blaming. We will see what plays out in court. But as of now, all of the things that I have read is that these were amazing people. And yes, they had beaten a dark past, but that should have nothing to do with this conversation because by all accounts, they had beaten that past. And anyone who has beaten a dark past, as far as my experience and the people I've known that have done so, are some of the strongest people I have ever known. And furthermore, James was on a waiting list for a heart transplant. So he was having to get tested all the time for substances. So if people are trying to say, oh, well, they did substances in the past, this must be connected. That man had had multiple heart surgeries and he was waiting on a heart transplant. When you are waiting for that, when you are using the medical devices that he was using, you are routinely tested. So again, I cannot tell you, concrete, there was a perfect family life, so there was no reason whatsoever for this. All I can tell you is that Sarah Grace Patrick has been arrested and charged with 4 counts in connection with taking the life of her mother and her stepfather. And if you watch the press conference by the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, they seemed pretty confident and they said they have a mountain of evidence. So we will see what plays out, but I just wanted to clear that up pretty quickly. I don't want to allow that narrative on my page. If it turns out that you guys were right, I will certainly come on here and make a video. But for now, I request that we all wait to see what comes out and rest in peace to Kristin and James Brock. This is absolutely devastating, disturbing. But of course, Sarah Grace Patrick, just like anyone else who has just been arrested, is innocent until proven guilty or until she pleads guilty. So right now, these are accusations, these are charges, these are not convictions. I will keep you posted on this case. Let me know your thoughts. And one last time, rest in peace to Kristin and James Brock.
So this is her mother's Facebook page, who is the victim, and it's still up. So if you want to go look at it, feel free. This is her Facebook page. And the stepfather's page is also up if you want to go look at it before it gets taken down or whatever might happen to it. Here you go. So this is her real father, who is Donald Patrick. And I find this whole post really telling because people speculate that he possibly knew that she did what she did. But this post kind of tells me like he probably didn't. And y'all can read it for yourself. So I'm going to get out of the way so y'all can pause to read this. But this is the post that everybody was like, oof, we think she might have told him. Like he knows more than what he's leading on. Like he's playing stupid. And when this happened, people are saying that she was angry because her mother and her stepfather said that her boyfriend at the time could not come over. Like they banned him from the house. They're like, no. And she got very upset, and they speculate that's why she did what she did. She was at the house, and the 5-year-old sister was at the house. The 5-year-old is the one that discovered the bodies. I'm not going to post a 5-year-old child on here, you guys. If y'all want to go do your own research and see what she looks like or who she is, you do that on your own time. But this 5-year-old woke up, discovered the bodies, and that's how it all transpired, how it all came about. Now, we don't know more of the details other than that because we're just speculating. Was Sarah in her bed pretending to be asleep? Was, like, obviously Sarah wasn't the one that discovered it. So did the 5-year-old discover it and go get Sarah? We don't know those details just yet. So this post was March, the year before, like a few months before, whatever. This kind of just shows like the mother obviously like really loved her. Like they all just really loved her. So let's back it up to 2022. On Kristin, the mom's Facebook is just proof that her and James did not have the best relationship. And from what we know around town, they were on some things. Okay. They left some paper trails that they did not have the best relationship, but they did turn things around for the better. They did work on the relationship. They became active members in the church. They became sober. They became better people. Now, people have speculated maybe there was something going on in the house. Maybe the stepdad was doing something, but that's not true because out of Sarah's own mouth, she has stated nothing like that occurred. So I don't know why it's cutting the person that sent this off, but her name is Kelly, and she shared her private messages with Sarah because before this all came about, everybody's just trying to figure everything out. And these were the messages clearing up the rumors that maybe the stepdad was doing something funky with her, okay? So if y'all missed Sarah's actual page, she tried to start like a GoFundMe and was like posting her Cash App and stuff like that, trying to get money from this whole situation. Well, this woman named Kimberly, she had created a GoFundMe in which was paying for like the cremation and all this stuff, and she didn't get a lot of money. Like she got $1,900. And if y'all ever have done anything with funerals and things like that, it's expensive. Okay, $1,900 ain't a lot when it comes to that stuff. But this was their conversation about that. Y'all need to pause to read. So also another speculation, Jackson Spradling. He got arrested. He was found with a weapon. And when he got arrested, and people are saying, oh, well, he snitched on her because that was her boyfriend. Who knows? We're going to find out. And here's just like a screenshot of post she made where she was like saying she was sent an anxiety attack while she was in the parking lot that her parents always took her to. Here's a post where she was like, I can't do it without my mom. And another one. So this is her mugshot when she turned herself in whenever they put the warrant out for her arrest for the unaliving of her mother and stepfather. We don't know what the interviews were like between her and the police officers. That has not yet been released. I guarantee if this goes to trial, it will be publicized. But this is my opinion. She looks very cold. Just the way that she went about things, like messaging true crime pages, messaging Mama Tot, all those things, like trying to almost gain like clout and exposure to herself in a sense, and creating GoFundMes, even though things were paid for. It just screams a little bit of I did it, where I was involved. And then my other opinion is I do believe she's guilty because, like the police have said, they spent a long time making sure. And they obviously have a lot of evidence against her. I'm sure the day that the 5-year-old and her were at the house and this was all discovered, they probably tested her hands for gun residue. So, a lot of things are going to play here. We don't know everything yet. Y'all give me your opinions. What do you think? The amount of comments I have gotten asking me to cover the Sarah Grace case, y'all's request is grand.
All right, so that's her. that is the young lady's TikTok on that. But I wanted to show you guys the press conference from the day of her arrest. 1 second. This is the press conference.
Many of you in this room that did come out on the scene that fateful day on February 20th. On the morning of February 20th, 2025, deputies with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office responded to a tragic scene at 1531 Carrollton Tyus Road. They discovered the bodies of James Brock, 45, and Kristin Brock, 41, both deceased from apparent gunshot wounds. From the very moment the 911 call was received, a relentless investigation began, one that would span months, consume thousands of man hours, and require the full weight of the local and federal law enforcement agency partnerships. Today, we can confirm that an arrest has been made in the case. Kristin Brock's 17-year-old daughter, Sarah Grace Patrick, has been taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault in connection with the deaths of her mother and her stepfather. While the case has not remained in the public spotlight in recent months, the investigation has never gone silent. Led by investigator TJ Repetto, our team has pursued every lead, sifted through mountains of physical and digital evidence, conducted countless interviews, and collaborated with agencies such as the FBI, the GBI Crime Lab, and private forensic laboratories. In a world where television portrays crimes being solved in under an hour, the truth here is much more complex. Real justice takes time. Time to ensure that no detail is overlooked and no stone is not turned over. Sheriff Terry Langley, alongside Captain Guy Pope and Lieutenant Jackson Lawrence, has remained committed to ensuring that justice is served in this heartbreaking case. Their leadership, combined with the tireless dedication of our investigators, has brought us to this point today. We know the public has been eager for answers, and we want to be clear. So have we. But bringing forth the truth responsibly and thoroughly is our highest obligation. We are proud of the unwavering commitment shown by every member of the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, and we stand behind the process that has led us here today. Our prayers remain with the families of James and Kristin Brock, and especially with their young daughter who was home during this horrific crime. We also want to extend our heartfelt thanks to the community that has rallied for justice and has never given up hope. The pursuit of justice does not end today, however. It is very possible, because this remains an open and ongoing investigation, that more arrests and charges could be made. So with that, I will open this up to questions.
Has she been charged as an adult?
She has.
Any idea what her motive was when she needed protection?
We are still working with her diligently. Our investigators have been speaking with her.
It is correct that she was the one who made the 911 call, correct?
Yes.
At what point did investigators begin to focus on her as the suspect?
So I believe in the beginning of any case, everyone's a suspect. I think I told many of you that when we were on scene that day. However, as an investigation continues and everything ebbs and flows, like I said in my press release, mountains of evidence has gotten us through here today. Lots of processing, lots of working with our law enforcement partners to get us to where we are today that honed in on her as a suspect.
Do you believe that she tried to cover this up in any way over the course of these months? You know, we've even seen videos on social media of somebody saying, you know, I'm making this message on behalf of the daughter. Do you believe she tried to do people to cover up anything?
Considering that she didn't just immediately tell us what happened, yes. But who knows what's going on in a young person's mind like that. But she has been arrested and charged now, and we feel confident that she is responsible for their murders. But like I said, it is an open, ongoing investigation. It's very possible others are involved as well.
What was the key breaker in the case?
Just evidence, being able to go through evidence, being able to use private laboratories, being able to use GBI Crime Lab. You know, when you're processing stuff, like I said, it doesn't come back in an hour. So we've been filtering through, and there's still evidence left to process.
You know, there's visual evidence. I assume that's text messages, emails. Was there some type of a trail that led you that way?
There's always a lot of evidence. I won't go into exactly what it is because it is an open, ongoing investigation, but we have mountains of evidence.
What
about the social media for TikTok, that type of stuff? Any of that going to be used?
That will be up to the prosecuting attorney, and they'll work diligently with our investigators to make the case go forward towards trial or whatever they decide to do.
Was that the younger adult, the youngest child that found them?
I believe that, and you speak to this, Kim, the smallest daughter found them that morning, correct? And then she came and told Sarah, and then Sarah made the 911 call.
Where was Sarah?
Sarah was in the home.
No, I mean, in the interim, where was she staying? Who was she living with?
She's 17. She's kind of been out on her own.
Was she out on her own at the time?
No, she lived at home with her mother and stepfather at that time. But since then, she's lived with different family members and kind of moved all over the place.
Did she turn herself in?
Yes, she did turn herself in this morning.
Do you believe that any of the other family members knew about this?
Hard to tell. I can say this, that everybody that we have talked to through the course of the investigation that are family members have been nothing but cooperative. Anything else?
Did you do anything after the murder during the investigation that you had some use in your
Like I said, we're still kind of putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, but I can tell you what led us here today, and that's the evidence that Sarah killed her parents.
Did she say why she turned herself in?
She turned herself in because we notified her she had warrants for her arrest.
Did you have any previous charges, any previous calls to that house regarding?
Not that I'm aware of, not regarding her, not that I'm aware of.
Did she seem remorseful?
I have not been personally with her or interviewed her, so I could not answer that question.
Or though it's a shocking part of her family as well. Did you get any kind of, were they shocked? What surprised you?
Like I said, her family's been very cooperative. I can't imagine as a parent her father brought her up here this morning. She turned herself in. I can't imagine what he's going through. So my heart goes out to him as well.
You talked about the family. I know they've been trying their best to keep this in the court.
Yes.
You guys are working behind this.
Yes.
I guess it takes, especially for a case this big, it takes a lot of time to make sure the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. And
Yes.
speak to that because they've been seeming like on social media that they were frustrated, but it takes a lot.
Yeah, and we understand. I mean, if you don't work in the law enforcement field, like I said, CSI's kind of tainted us where, hey, something happens, it's done in an hour. This is not the case. I mean, and not only that, don't you want the right person arrested? So that's why it takes so long. These diligent investigators took their time. We've got the person that we believe orchestrated this and committed this horrific crime, and that was played through the part of evidence, and that's not something that's processed overnight.
Do you know where the weapon was obtained from?
I can't speak to that right now. Still investigation. Say that again. She is six years old now. She's staying with family.
Can you speak to like just how she does it?
Oh, it's absolutely a shock to our community. Carroll County is a great community. We very rarely have stranger on stranger crime here, so I would like to say that we're not a dangerous community. I know that the Tice community that this happened in, those neighbors were really up in arms, as they should have been. Like I said, this has been a process to get us to where we're at today, but we don't know what goes through the mind of a child who wants to harm their parents. So that I can't answer right now, but it is a very horrific and sad case.
Was there any evidence of any type of, I don't want to say abuse, but challenges in the home?
Still an ongoing investigation.
And for anybody, who worked on this case, I don't know if there's ever been any other case like this in any of your careers, or if this is one of a few, but just when the facts, as you say, lead you to this conclusion, is it difficult, or what is that like as a human, kind of when you follow facts?
Anytime you work a case where somebody's life has been cut short, James is a special case because I believe, according to his family, he had a lot of heart trouble. He'd had numerous heart surgeries. I believe he may have been waiting on a heart transplant at some point. And to have his life cut short when he was given so many opportunities to live, to me, that's a big takeaway from this story. And that a mother and a stepfather will never be able to raise their children and the little girl that was in the home. To me, she's probably the saddest victim in all of this.
You did mention she didn't turn herself in. You said she was turned in with her father.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm. All right. I'll be around after. If you have any additional questions, I will send you. If you will give me a business card, I'll be happy to provide you with my press release and the mugshot. Just let me know if there's anything additional after this that you may need. Okay. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you coming out.
All right. That was the press release on the 8th of July last year. All right. So there was a question asked, have they found the weapon? Do they have the weapon? To my understanding, as of right now, there was no mention of a weapon being found. So that's my understanding. So I could be wrong. If somebody knows the answer to that, please chime in and let me know what is the most recent status of the weapon situation. Because according to what I have seen and read, from what people have sent me, there's no mention of actually them having the weapon. Okay. There was another question I saw in here. You said there is a lot of I Stand With Sarah movement. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. And I'm not too sure why it's there, because I think they're saying that somebody else might have did it. I don't know. I really don't know. But there is also the grandparents on her mother's side basically have been championed for her, saying that they believe that she did not do it. Someone else is the reason for the unaliving. But let me go ahead on and bring up another clip here. Hold on. They have this young lady has another update from December last year. Hold on. And it's titled "The Haunting," from the haunting message to the arrest. All right, let's go ahead on.
For a case that she would wind up being arrested in, but her comments on that video that I made that she requested are so disturbing to look at now. Sarah Grace has now been arrested and charged with taking her mother and stepfather's life. She requested that I make a video about it, and then she commented, "Thank you for spreading awareness." She also replied to this person who asked what was used in this crime, and she answered. This person commented and said, "From an investigative standpoint, it would seem that it was someone who knew them, hoping for answers and swift justice." Sarah Grace, the daughter and stepdaughter of these victims who has now been arrested, said most definitely was, since they knew the house. If you don't know what case I'm talking about, this is James and Kristin Brock. They were found no longer alive in their Carroll County, Georgia home in February of this year. I learned about this case when I got a message on June 4th from the daughter of Kristin and stepdaughter of James, Sarah Grace Patrick. She was asking for me to cover the case, and I did so. I get requests like that all the time. So that is a screenshot of me covering it and where she said thank you. And as of today, July 8th, 2025, she was arrested and charged with 4 counts in connection with taking the life of her mother and stepfather. She learned that there was an arrest warrant according to reports and turned herself in. It was her father, according to the press conference today, that dropped her off to turn herself in. That is all we know so far. So many people want to know about motive and why, but this arrest just happened today. So like in every other case, it is now. So not only did this teenager ask me to cover a case that she would wind up being arrested in, but her comments on that video that I made that she requested are so disturbing to look at now. Sarah Grace has now been arrested and charged with taking her mother and stepfather's life. She requested that I make a video about it, and then she commented, "Thank you for spreading awareness." She also replied to this person who asked what was used in this crime, and she answered.
Okay, sorry, I was caught up in something else, and I had it playing over again. Hold on, let's go to this one here. I'm trying to get as much information for you guys. And hold on.
Make a video about the unsolved case of her mother, Kristin Brock, and her stepfather, James Brock. I did make a video about that case in June 2025. But in July 2025, I was shocked to hear that Sarah Grace Patrick was arrested, and she was charged with taking the lives of her mother, Kristin, and her stepfather, James. The trial against her is set to start tomorrow, January 5th, 2026. Usually I would be doing a daily trial update and giving you, news about what happens in the courtroom each day. But I'm making this video to let you know I won't be doing that, and I won't be talking about this case again until the trial is over. I don't have final confirmation yet, but there is a chance that I'm going to have to testify in this trial. So out of an abundance of caution, I have made the decision to stop talking about the Brock case until the trial is over. I have tried all along the way to not do anything that would hinder this case or damage the chance for justice. I did make videos about how shocked I was that someone that reached out to me was then arrested, because that was a shocking thing. But outside of that, I have tried for myself to not talk about rumors or speculation or victim blaming. And I have even urged others not to do that either. I have said time and time again, Sarah Grace Patrick is innocent until proven guilty. And I have said time and time again, we all have to wait to see what comes out at trial. That trial is set to start tomorrow, and we will finally see what comes out. And once it's over, I'll come back and we'll talk about it. But just knowing there's a chance I will be a witness on the stand, I don't think it would be right to be talking about the trial and then be in the trial. So this is my decision, and I hope that you understand. Rest in peace to James and Kristin Brock. Hopefully,
it's not finished.
We have a verdict within the next few weeks, and what happened in February 2025 in Carrollton, Georgia will be more clear for everyone. As soon as the trial is over, I'll be back. And one more time before I go, rest in peace to James and Kristin. Sarah Grace Patrick reached out to me in June 2025 and asked me to make a video about the unsolved case of her mother, Kristin Brock, and her stepfather, James Brock. I did make a video about that case in June 2025. But in July 2025, I was shocked to hear that Sarah Grace Patrick was arrested, and she was charged with taking the lives of her mother, Kristin, and her stepfather, James. The trial against her is set to start tomorrow.
Okay, so she is one that is probably
Sarah Grace Patrick
is probably being subpoenaed for the case, because she was one of the ones that started the covering the case. And now here is her father's posting that I'm going to share with you guys. Just 1 second. Oh, sorry, y'all.
I was waiting for my brother's Tristan. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sarah, and I'm Kristin Brock's daughter and James Brock's stepdaughter. This isn't easy, and I don't know how Ben and Angie do this all the time, but I'm really happy I get to do this. But just bear with me because I stutter a lot. I just wanted to say goodbye to my mama and Jamie since we never got the chance to. I was so used to you guys always being here to the point that I never once thought to imagine y'all not being here. I didn't have a single clue how much I needed y'all until now. For James, thank you for all the life lessons you taught me and for being the best bonus dad ever. Your heart will finally be healed in heaven, and neither of y'all will be in any pain anymore. Although that gives me so much comfort, your fight was not supposed to end there. And for my mother, everything we went through does not define what kind of person or what kind of mother you were. You were a beautiful, kind soul with so much gratitude and so gosh dang strong. And you taught me so many life lessons, and some that you just recently taught me through a letter you sent to James in 2018. When I first read it, I smiled and I cried, and I got chill bumps. But every single time I read it, it puts me to a lot of peace. So I thought I would share it. May 23rd, 2018, Deuteronomy 6:5. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. The wrong one will find you in peace and leave you in pieces, but the right one will find you in pieces and get you to peace. We can't always choose the music that life plays for us, but you can choose how we dance to it. She was always dancing to her own beat, LOL. And keep in mind, she wrote that herself. Eventually, all the pieces fall into place, but until then, laugh at the confusion, live for the moment, and know that everything happens for a reason. I can choose to let it define me, confine me, refine me, outshine me, or I can choose to move on and leave it behind me. Always, Kristin Brock. Considering that gave me so much closure, I want to remember them for who they were and not what happened to them, and be happy for the time we got to spend together and not sad about the time that we don't. I I may always and will always be her sunshine, but she will always be my star from up above. And I know at nighttime I can go and look at Mama and Jamie in the sky, and gladly they will save me a seat in heaven like they saved for me. I'm sorry. Gladly they will save a seat for me in heaven like they saved a seat for me in this very church. Although there's nothing we can do to bring them back, we still have control over how we treat people with us today. Therefore, when someone tries to tell you anything, no matter how important it could be, just listen, because you never know when it's somebody's time to go. You could say goodnight and wake up a few hours just to find out they aren't there, despite their joy and their love. So just listen and never take a hug or anyone or anything for granted, and love with all that you have in you like they did. And lastly, my take on not taking people for granted. I want to thank my family, also known as my Cata fam, my grandparents, my siblings, Julie, Donnie, Jaden, Jojo, Trent, Tristan, Ashley, and Jesse for helping me get through my worst nightmare. And last but not least, I want to thank Tasha, Bree, Nate, Lane, Kimberly Hayes, Kim Bowling, Katie, and most of all, my father, Angie, and Ben for making such a big difference. Jamie and Mama would have thanked y'all too. I love you guys, and so do they. I'm sorry. I was waiting for my brother's Tristan. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sarah, and I'm Kristin Brock's daughter and James Brock's stepdaughter. This isn't easy, and I don't know how Ben and Angie do this all the time, but I'm really happy I get to do this, but just bear with me because I stutter a lot. I just wanted to say goodbye to my mama and Jamie since we never got the chance to. I was so used to you guys always being here to the point that I never once thought to imagine y'all not being here. I didn't have a single clue how much I needed y'all until now. For James, thank you for all the life lessons you taught me and for being the best bonus dad ever. Your heart will finally be healed in heaven, and neither of y'all will be in any pain anymore. Although that gives me.
Okay, y'all. Did y'all hear her eulogy, her message to them? There's a lot to do. There's a lot to do this. But they found the boyfriend with a weapon. They said they found the boyfriend with a weapon. They found the boyfriend with a weapon. I just try to look at the Hold on a second. This is the Hold on a second. I tried to look up his case in Carroll County court record, and I could not find anything. Hold on. He's not in jail. He's out because I look at the jail record. He's not in there. Hold on a second, y'all. Jackson. S. S-P-A-R-D. S-P-A-R-A-D-L-I-N. Jackson. Okay, we are going to Superior Court. And then we're going to do criminal and search. Okay, there's nothing found on him on that. Search. There's nothing found on him, y'all. There's nothing found on the Superior Court. Let's see. Criminal division. Okay, let's see. There's nothing found on him. Mm-mm. Is his first day? Okay. Right, here's his charges. Yeah, you're right. They did find first offense misdemeanor. Hold on a second. They have a weapon. They did find a weapon according to this. We love you, Jackson. Crazy. Okay, hold on. Let me just show you guys what I found on him. His first name is Jackson. I did spell his name that way. I spelled his name that way. I still can't find it. Maybe I'm on my guy to find it. Do another county. Yeah, I looked for it and I can't find it. I'm in Superior Court. I did Superior and I did criminal. Let's see the warrant. Let's see. Okay, we found the warrant. Okay, it's still under warrant. Okay, here we go. His name is Jackson David Spradlin. Okay, here it is. Here's what he was charged with. I found it, y'all. It's just that he hasn't gone to court yet. They haven't indicted him. It's still considered hold on. Here we go. Hold on. Yeah, I just found it. Sorry. There it is right here. This is it right here. Can y'all see? Let me make it bigger for y'all. Can y'all see this? Can y'all see it? This is what he was charged with. Manufacture, deliver, distribute, administer, sell, possess with intent to distribute controlled substance. He got that. That's 1, 2, and then he had purchase of possession. Okay, got 3, 4. It says possession of a firearm or knife during a commission of an attempt to commit certain felony. There it is right there, y'all. Yeah, I guess he was found with the gun. He got 6 charges. But he is not on, let's see what the proceeding says. Okay, yeah. Discovery demands, let's see. So he must have got a bond, y'all, because see right here? It says a bond, appearance for a bond. Let me go see if where I can find this case number at, because it's not, is this a state? Let's see. Offense, associated parties, got that. Okay, back to case. And the judge is Erica Tissinger. It says created import from Peach Court. I gotta go find exactly where his paperwork is. I don't know where it's at. Yeah, I see it, right? It's always something. It's always something. So he must be on bond. Yeah, he must have got bond, y'all, on the 17th of July. When was he arrested? Hold on a second. Let's see when he was arrested. Let's go back. There was a warrant out on 3rd. When did he get arrested? We don't know when he was arrested. This is when the warrant came out on the 3rd. But his attorney came in on the 10th. And he got bond on the 17th. So that's why I couldn't find him in the jail, because he's bonded out. So we have the case number. Let me go ahead and copy this and put this onto my little research spot here. That's his case number. You know what I hate when it's all these old counties like this, because you can't find the let me go over here and get the party's information. His name is right. Oh, he got 2 attorneys. He got Mac Pingram. Then he has Jackie Colville. Yeah. Oh, he's no longer. Oh, he's no longer the Jackie's no longer the attorney, because you see inactive date the 11th. So this is the attorney right now. This is the attorney right here. This is Matt Pilgrim. Is his attorney. Let me copy this so I can put it down here. That's his attorney. Okay, let's see. All right, let's go to the party. Okay, Jackson. His name is... I have to copy this and put it into my thing here. He was arrested July 7th. All right. I need this. I need to copy this so I can have what he's arrested for. Gotta copy this and put this into my notes. All right, we got it. We got it in my notes. All right. Okay, y'all. What else do we need to? Oh, this guy here did a little thing on him. Hold on a second. Let's go to this guy here. This guy here.
On to others, whether their emotions are matching the gravity of the situation. They took note when Sarah stood up and delivered a eulogy. Now, some watched and thought it was an act of bravery, while others started to wonder, because Sarah cried, she apologized, she thanked people for being there. You know, at the time, nearly everybody in the room believed they were watching a heartbroken teenager who was trying to make sense of 2 unimaginable losses. But some people were noticing something a little different. Not evil, not obviously suspicious, more like kind of a dissonance or a separation. There was something about the cadence, the phrasing, the intermittent apologies that didn't sit well with a few folks. Some would later tell reporters that they thought the whole thing felt kind of off, not monstrous, just incongruent.
This isn't anything like, oh, family, you do this all the time, but I really have done this. Bear with me because I stutter a lot. I just wanted to say goodbye.
We saw this already. I
Although the
this again.
Line shifts and details that quietly disappear as narrative or a secondhand take. I like to use a company called newspapers.com in my investigations because they give me these boots on the ground reports from the original articles written by people who were there as the cases were unfolding in real time. That's how you can catch those early inconsistencies, timeline shifts, and details that quietly disappear as narratives change. So if you want access to that same level of real reporting, not some recycled summary, you could get a 20% off discount at newspapers.com by using the link in the description below or simply scanning this QR code on the screen. Try out newspapers.com. It's a resource that I use every single day. Now, in Sarah Patrick's cases, investigators were looking at online searches, messages, location data, deleted posts, drafts, pseudonym accounts, photos taken, and photos that were deleted off of screenshots and contacts and other things. And for the investigators, those patterns started to make sense. When they haven't released the specifics publicly, but the phrasing alone tells you something, that they believe that the digital evidence is compelling. And that private data, it became even more interesting once Sarah's public behavior started colliding with what was going on behind the scenes. Because in the months that followed the murders, a TikTok creator who covers unsolved and active homicide cases shared a message that she claims came from an account belonging to Sarah Grace. The message urged her to search up the Brock case, describing the deaths as brutal, insisting that a random intruder came in and shot her parents while Sarah and her sister slept. Now, in another message, this account allegedly told the creator that this case would be really big. When those messages surfaced publicly, they caused an explosion of speculation, and frankly, for good reason. It's not typical behavior in the aftermath of a double homicide to reach out to social media influencers and pitch your parents' murder as content. But here's the hard truth. Not all atypical behavior is evidence of guilt either. Well, when I joined Vinnie Politan on Court TV, we talked about this exact dilemma. And I shared something that's, I think, important for everybody following this case to understand. That before we judge somebody's reaction to trauma, especially before we judge their digital behavior, we have to understand their baseline personality. I think it's really important to understand how Sarah naturally converses online. Is this a kid who tends to dramatize things for attention? Is she a socially anxious, manipulative person? Or does she try to manage online perceptions? Or is she simply a teenager who turned to the internet for every emotional moment, including the murder of her parents, whether it's positive or negative? This is why I told Vinnie that we can't compare a teenager's grief expression to what we assume grief should look like. We have to kind of compare it against their normal behavior. If Sarah is somebody who lives online, somebody who posts constantly, someone who seeks validation, someone who is constantly living on the internet, narratives in her life might simply be misguided ways of processing trauma. Her reacting and reaching out to an influencer might be exactly the same. But if she's not like that normally, if this pattern only emerged after the murders occurred, or if it only came out once the investigators began asking questions, then that behavior might suggest something entirely different. And there's a really thin line between grieving publicly and controlling your narrative. And that line is at the center of this case. Let's watch this video clip.
What does Sarah Patrick's behavior tell us? Here to help answer our question is psychiatrist, forensic specialist, and medical health expert, Dr. Yalda Safai, and retired police commander, author, and host of the podcast Profiling Evil, Mike King. Great to have you both here. Yeah, and Mike, that's a big part of this case is her age. The case was waived up, so she's being tried as an adult, even though she wasn't an adult at the time that this happened. But then you look at her, and she looks even younger in person with the freckles and the emotions and everything else. What are your thoughts about her behavior after the murder of her mom and her stepfather in a house where she was sleeping close by?
Well, I really appreciate the doc kind of laying the groundwork there, Vinny, because this is what's so important for an investigator to keep in mind, is it's not as much about the way you initially see the person behaving or responding or reaching out like she's doing with social media. What's most important for an investigator and the investigative process is to figure out the baseline, figure out what this individual does in a normal course of her day. Does she reach out to creators and talk to social media people on a regular basis? How involved is she in social media? But more importantly, Vinny, I want to know more about her personality. Is she manipulative in nature? Is she someone who has learned how to really work the system in order to get what she wants? Is she an individual who is conniving, or is she innocent and completely caught off guard by all of this? Because then I start looking at the behavior in the crime scene, and I think we're going to talk about that a little bit, but we see the interaction between her as an individual and the behaviors we're seeing in the crime scene, the way the bodies were left in the room, where the bodies were when they were murdered, where the doors are open and how they're open. All of that starts becoming really important in the aggregate. And we just have to keep reminding ourselves, don't focus on the individual pieces and parts, but make sure you bring them all together. I guess kind of like you always have handled circumstantial cases. Put all the pieces together and let the A's and the B's help you prove C.
You know, it's really important to highlight what makes baseline behavior so critical, because people respond to trauma differently depending on who they already are. A manipulative teenager often becomes more manipulative under stress. A private teenager doesn't suddenly become an online influencer. They don't become a digital storyteller. They don't take every narrative and turn it into a dramatic event. And I'm sure you can think of plenty of examples where social media creators have dramatized their personal lives. We've been seeing it even recently. And they look for a way to kind of work through their issues online. Well, like those examples, a chronic attention-seeking person often leans harder into attention-seeking when they're under pressure. That's why good investigators ask questions like, what does this person normally look like? What do they do every single day? What's their typical emotion range? And how do they respond to pressure? Do they respond through embarrassment and guilt or public scrutiny? And here's the part that a lot of true crime viewers don't like hearing. Regardless, we cannot diagnose people's guilt based on the grief that they're displaying. You can't convict on tears or the lack of them. You can't convict based on a smile at the wrong time. And you certainly can't convict somebody because of their eulogy and how it felt off to you. But you can explore those behaviors to see whether they intersect with the timelines, the deleted posts, the searches, or contradictions in testimony. And that's where behavior and digital forensics kind of merge together. And that's where this case starts to take shape, in my opinion. And that's why prosecutors feel they have enough to move forward. So let's kind of fast forward to August 19th, when Sarah Grace Patrick appeared for her bond hearing before Judge Hightower. The courtroom had supporters, had some detractors. The supporters described Sarah as patient, kind, a church-loving kid who was baptized after a deeply personal decision. They described her as a young woman who came alive at the local church. She was attending weekly. She even called her pastor from jail to pray. Well, let me just say that behavior doesn't impress me. I mean, how many of you think that kind of behavior is unique? But to these people, Sarah wasn't the kind of girl who yelled at people or lashed out. She wasn't violent and she wasn't disrespectful. Now, this was their truth. But the victim's family members tell a different truth, one that they've built on fears. Fear that if Sarah could kill her own mother and the stepfather who raised her, she could kill anybody. Fear that if Sarah was released, that she might run. Fear that Sarah might try to intimidate the only eyewitness to this crime, her younger sister. And so the prosecution leaned in hard to that fear. They told the judge that Sarah represented a significant flight risk, and she was an equally significant risk of witness intimidation. And as Judge Hightower listened to both sides, he reminded the courtroom that this wasn't about entertainment. This wasn't about sensationalism, and it wasn't daytime court TV. That's right. He specifically called out court TV, but then he denied Sarah Patrick her request for release.
All right, to address just a couple of things, Pastor Bonner mentioned that we are the jury, and we are not the jury. My job as a judge is simply to make sure that the law is followed and that court is done in a fair and just manner. That's my role, to make sure that everyone follows the law and that everyone stays within the rules, and I make sure that that's done. We are not the jury. And as of right now, Ms. Williams did correctly state the law that this is not the trial, and it is not the burden to prove her guilt beyond a reasonable doubt today. That is not what we are. And for those that are here, I don't want y'all to misunderstand and confuse the burdens and think that's where we're at today, because that is not where we are. On a motion for bond, defense has a burden of coming forward initially with evidence to show that the defendant does not pose a significant risk of fleeing, threatening the community, committing another crime, or intimidating a witness. And then it is the state has the burden of persuasion in convincing this court that the defendant is not entitled to pretrial release. The state has the burden of proving by a preponderance of the evidence that the trial court should deny bail or bond. And there's a vast difference in beyond a reasonable doubt and preponderance of the evidence. Preponderance of the evidence is essentially greater than 50%, or it's just a greater likelihood than the other side. That is vastly different than beyond a reasonable doubt at trial. And I need everyone to understand that. My job is to evaluate the witnesses, weigh their credibility as they testify before me, and apply what the witnesses have said and apply their credibility to the law the best I can. Making sure that I've covered what I needed to and what I've heard from several folks. All right. With that being said, and listening to the witnesses here, if I weigh these witnesses' testimonies and I weigh what I hear today, I believe those closest, and I say closest in family relationship, expressed that they had vast concerns that she would have the ability to flee, that she would be a danger to the community, that she would be a danger to them, and that she would pose a significant risk of intimidating, or actually I think the state steered away from intimidating or influencing or manipulating witnesses. By finding that, I find the state has met their burden today by a preponderance of the evidence. And Miss Patrick, because of that, I'm bound by the law, and I do not believe that you would be a proper candidate for bond at this time.
And from that moment forward, Sarah wasn't a mourning daughter in many people's eyes. She wasn't a TikTok teenager. She wasn't a church-going kid, and she wasn't a victim to the supporters or a manipulator to the critics. She was simply an accused murderer, sitting in an adult jail while she waits for what comes next. Now, the grand jury indicted Sarah on 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault. That indictment tells us 3 things. Number 1, that the evidence presented to the grand jury wasn't weak. It was enough to bind her over. Grand juries don't just rubber stamp difficult or high profile cases. They examine them for what the state offers. Second, the prosecution believes that the digital and behavior.
No, that's not true, because they said you can indict a ham sandwich, sir. It's not true.
Behavioral evidence shows probable cause, enough to sustain these charges. And third,
Probable
they
cause.
believe the state is committed to moving forward, that they're not wavering, that they're not waiting. They're signaling that this isn't a case that's built on suspicion. They're saying it's a case built on evidence. Now, a grand jury doesn't decide guilt, but it does decide whether a jury should make that decision of whether a defendant is guilty or innocent. Well, this idea of charging a teenager as an adult comes with a whole lot of public emotion. Georgia has strict standards about sending a juvenile into the adult court system. They don't take a 16-year-old, Sarah's age at the time, and automatically put them into the adult system. They reserve that for cases where they believe the crime reflects adult-level decision-making, access, planning, motive, and sophistication. The Brock murders, in the eyes of prosecutors, contains all of those elements. A double homicide. The victims were parental figures. The attack happened in the safety of their bedroom, and a young child was present in the home where they were murdered. There was no forced entry. The murder weapon is missing, but there's circumstantial evidence that might be pretty dang compelling. They also are considering the preparation and planning for a crime like this, which had to include collecting, obtaining a weapon, disposing of the weapon, and controlling a story online with these kind of crafty statements.
Okay.
And folks, I wanted to take advantage of my appearance on Court TV to share my concerns about Sarah's mental health. You know, we talked about the trauma of discovering bodies, and whether you are a victim or an offender, I can agree. And while I agree with much of that, there's an important layer that I think we need to talk about. In my opinion, not all offenders feel trauma after committing a violent act or witnessing a violent act. Some feel relief, some feel control, and in some rare cases, some feel exhilaration. Now, this isn't unique to killers or psychopaths. It can appear in people who act out in the heat of emotion, when anger, resentment, or perceived injustice kind of boils over. Now, some offenders describe the act as the moment that everything finally made sense. Others are feeling empowered by the criminal act, like they took their life back somehow. Some feel justified, believing that they finally solved a problem or removed an obstacle. And I'm not saying that Sarah felt any of these things. We don't have evidence of that, at least we don't have evidence publicly of that. But what I want people to understand about the absence of trauma or even the presence of excitement is that it doesn't automatically tell investigators that somebody is psychopathic. It can simply be the emotional response the particular person had in a moment that they convinced themselves that an act, which was maybe proven criminal, was necessary. That's why baselines matter. That's why emotional patterns matter. And that's why forensic psychology matters. You gotta understand somebody's normal range before you interpret their reaction to something like homicide. When I spoke with Vinny, I also broke down the crime scene a little, what it suggests to me, what it doesn't, and what investigators likely saw the moment they stepped into that bedroom. I hope you'll go back and watch that on Court TV. You see, killing inside of a bed is deeply personal. It's intimate, it's vulnerable, and it's emotional. But in this crime, there was no forced entry, no ransacking. There's a missing weapon and children who were left to discover the carnage.
All right, Mike King, I want to get your thoughts, but I also want to throw into the mix for you. We've heard about this mountain of evidence, including digital evidence, but this is a case where the defendant lives at the crime scene, right? So, like, it's her house. Like, this is where she lives. What are your thoughts about that and the fact that no weapon has been recovered?
Well, I'll tell you, I really love being on with you and Joe Scott, because Joe Scott covered the things that are really important from the evidence that we know of. The things that we don't know of are the things that I'm really thinking about a lot, Vinny. Number one is that idea that, yeah, this is a person who lives in the home. So we're going to have to expect that her DNA is going to be throughout the home, that there's going to be signs and all kinds of things that would be easily explained, whether it's in that bedroom or any other room in the house. But it's the things that are not being said that I'm really going back to and I keep thinking about. Number one is that weapon that was used to commit these homicides. Is there a chance that that weapon or the type of weapon because undoubtedly they've recovered bullet fragments, they've been able to identify what kind of weapon. We don't know if there were casings that were found at the scene, but they're going to be able to determine the type of weapon that killed mom and dad in that home. And I want to know, does dad have any of those kinds of weapons, and has the inventory of his weapons, if he is a weapon holder, is that inventory being completed, and is there anything missing? Because we have to understand where that weapon originated. We talked earlier about the idea of suppressors or other things. The risk is so great in trying to get something like that, and just one other person knowing that she was even looking for something like that could have potentially come back. So I think that's going to be something really important. I would suspect that the weapon originated in the home. But again, there's a lot to be seen in this case still. The other thing that I'm thinking about is the digital forensics off of her mobile device. And if she is so attached to social media and other things, there's a good possibility she's either educated in what can be tracked on a mobile phone, or she just can't leave the phone alone, even knowing that it might pose a danger. And so we have to know that law enforcement had enough information to get a grand jury to say go, and a prosecutor had enough information to say this is an adult-driven crime, that there's got to be a lot of stuff we don't know about.
Now, if we consider the victimology, it suggests that the killers were targets, and that they likely knew who the killer was. I also told Court TV that crime scenes like this speak loudly about familiarity, access, comfort, emotional proximity. This comment doesn't convict Sarah, but it does keep her in the crosshairs of inclusion. But the real truth is this: human beings are rarely one-dimensional. Sarah might be both an empathetic and a manipulative person, both religious and impulsive, both respectful, maybe in public, and resentful behind closed doors. And that's what investigators are trying to sort out right now. And that's what prosecutors believe they've uncovered. And that's exactly what a jury will eventually have to measure. And with the grand jury now secure.
Hello to everybody that's come inside the chat. We are almost at the end of our live today. I've been on here almost 2 hours, and I see folks coming in. Hello, Miss Sweetie. Hello, Larry. Hello, Lady Di. Hello, everybody that's coming in. But we're almost at the end, so I just wanted to tell you that if you get like, okay, why is she going off, leaving? It's because I'm done. Hey, Callie, if you're still in here, Callie, if you're still in here, I didn't get an email from you. I just wanted to let you know, okay? I didn't get an email, so if you don't have my right email address, it's sparks with an S 1565@gmail.com, okay? All right, so that's Larry. Are you a lawyer? Because I see Larry Law at the end. Are you a lawyer? I would love to talk to you. And if you are a lawyer, what type of lawyer are you? Are you a criminal defense lawyer, or are you a prosecutor, or are you, I just want to know. Why is my thing locking up? What's going on with this internet? It's acting up, y'all. I keep freezing up for some strange reason. I don't know why. Internet's acting up. Probably need. It stands for Lord always with me. Okay, I got you. That's a good one. Lord always with me. Okay, I like that. Thank you for telling me what it stands for. Okay. But anyway, let me finish this podcast and then we're done. It's got about 3 more minutes, okay?
This case is going to move forward in trial at the 1st of 2026. The prosecution is going to rely heavily on digital evidence, timelines, inconsistencies, and behaviors. And the defense is going to have to remind the jury of the absence of a weapon, the lack of direct physical evidence, the powerful testimony of loved ones, and the argument that detectives misinterpreted a teenager's grief. It's going to be really emotional. It's going to be really divisive. It's going to expose the tension between how we expect people to behave and how they actually behave under extreme trauma. And it's going to be a reminder that in the true crime world, nothing replaces a careful, methodical investigation. So thanks for sticking around on this review, because criminal cases that involve teenagers are incredibly challenging for all of us, both emotionally, psychologically, and morally. They force us to ask whether the behaviors that we're seeing are signs of guilt, or are they signs of trauma, or maybe something far more complicated. And please remember that you can find Profiling Evil on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. And if you like to get your
that is the, please subscribe to him because he has some good stuff on this case. But in the meantime, thank you guys for your time. Please subscribe. Please hit the notification and share this live. And remember, I will be at the courthouse on the 27th of January for the bond reconsideration hearing for Sarah Grace Patrick. So thank you again. I hope this gives you a little light of what went on with this particular case. I don't know the details, but hopefully we'll find more out. The more I find out, the more I'll come back to you guys. You guys have a great one. All right. Bye.
Thank you for watching the infamous Sylvia channel, where laughter and fun make up our panel. Together we build this digital spree. We appreciate you and our growing family. With minds by our side and chat flowing free in this online space. It's just you and me, we laugh until tears roll down like the rain. In this virtual world, you ease all my pains. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Minds and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We cherish the moments, the highs and lows, from the latest gossip to stories untold. You're more than a viewer, you're part of the crew in this space of ours. It's all because of you. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mars in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mars in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment